Yo, yo, this is Don Mondo coming at you at another episode on the differences between America and Canada. So, I believe this is episode 3. So, we talked about the weather, we talked about which country calls the cops. If you haven't checked out that channel yet, go take a look at it. It's pretty funny, but it's the truth, it's the facts. Like I said, I've lived here 15 years. I lived in the States 15 years. I'm more than qualified to have my opinion and be as realistic as I can and tell you the truth about what's going on in these two countries. So now, for this episode, I'm gonna do a little twist. It's might be a touchy subject for most people, but it's not as bad when you think about it. The whole world talks about it. It's on social media every single day. It's about racism. Yeah, you heard me right. Racism. So, the differences between the two countries. Which country is more racist than the other? This is where it gets a little sticky. This is where people's feelings are going to get a little bit hurt. But Don Mondo comes at you live at the jump off to tell you the truth. And nothing but the truth. So I gotta tell you how I feel. I gotta tell you how everybody's had their ups and downs when it comes to racism. You see what I'm saying? And they probably had a scenario once in a while, and then automatically it it gave them like they judged the city or they judged a place that they were at automatically. But I've been here 15 years, so it's not like I'm passing by and automatically I'm like, oh well, this guy told me get your Albanian ass back to Albania. We don't need you here, and I believe that Phoenix is a racist. No, like I've been 15 years in both countries, so I've seen it all. So here's what it comes down to: racism. Which country is more racist than the other? Who do you think it is? I want to hear some people's opinions. Whoever has been to Canada, whoever has been in the States, I want to get some ideas. I know a lot of you people are thinking the States. I might pick the states as well. You never know. But I'm about to tell you right now. I know the suspension's high. I know you're sweating. I know you're like, what is this guy gonna say? What is this crazy Mr. Don Mondo comes out of nowhere telling people this and that and all this BS? What is he gonna say? Everybody ready for it? Drum roll. America or Canada? Which one is more racist than the other? I would have to pick Canada. I'm sorry, my fellow Canadians, but I gotta speak the truth on this one. If nobody's checked, go look up at what's going on in Brampton, or go look at what's going on in Montreal. They're holding up protest. You got Syrians, you got Palestinians, you got people from Iraq. You got Arabs going against Indians, and they're attacking. Like they're taking it to the extreme. In the States, it doesn't go that far. You might walk by somebody and be like, "Oh, you stupid," blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? You might say the word, but you're not gonna tell the person the word. You're gonna mumble it in your mouth because you're scared that the person might have a gun and might shoot you. So you're gonna mumble in your mouth and gonna walk away. Here in Canada, the individuals here are going to people's churches, mosques, the places where they pray, and they're going out of their way to torch it down or to cut off the block so the cars won't go through. Like they're going on and beyond racism. They're getting towards terrorism. So when I see terrorism occur, that's past racism. You see what I'm saying? That's like you're taking it to a whole different step. And you got all the Canadians because some of the Indians that are here in Canada. Okay, for all my fellow Americans who don't know what's going on, a lot of Indians or a lot of people in general, Chinese, Asians, could be anybody, doesn't matter. They come to Canada for a student visa. Okay, so on a student visa, they're allowed to work around 20 hours a week. Of course, they get a little bit of cash job and they work 40 hours a week. If the person likes the way they work, they're, say the business owner is part of their country, so they want to help them out with a little bit more money, and they give them a little bit more money. So they come to the country, they're here on a student visa. They're supposed to learn, they get their degree, and they go back. That's how it works in Canada. In America, there's such thing, but it's really unheard of. Like I've been in Phoenix, Arizona, 15 years. I've been in California. I've been in Miami. I've been in a lot of places, and it's very rare. It's very rare. And if the person does come, they put up a lot of money. They put up millions and millions of dollars, like, and it's mostly probably Chinese or somebody well off, a European, German, anybody that's well off that come over here and finish off their schooling in America. So it's not common in the States, but it's very common in Canada. So with that being said, why I say Canada, I've seen more racism in Canada is because you got a lot of different cultures, a lot of different people. Okay? So like in Arizona, Mexican, black, white, Europeans, that's it. Europeans considered white, whatever. That's all you got. You know what I'm saying? Mexicans and black. So you only got like 2 groups, 3 groups. And you've already been accustomed to them because you've already been friends with them. You played on a football team with them. If you look at the hockey team, they're all white. There's barely any black guys on the hockey team, you know, here in Canada. But if you look at it, the States, you got the football team. There's black people on the football team. There's Mexicans on the football team. There's everybody on the football team. So it's totally different. When it comes to like the sports playing. But besides the sports, here you have many cultures. So many different groups that come here. So you got to learn about their culture. You got to learn about their food. You got to learn about their styles, their how they act, how they. It's very hard, you know, especially when they're coming here as a student visa. You don't know them that well because they're only allowed to stay for about 5 years to 10 years in case they push their student visa. So they come here for 5 years, they extend it, they stay here, say, for 7 or 8 years, then they go back. Then a whole new flood of people come in. And so if you haven't checked the news, it's chaos. It's chaos here in Canada. You got millions and millions of people coming in, especially with the Ukraine war. So you got a lot of Ukrainians coming in from the war now because Canada, I believe, is the second or third biggest country in the world. So there's a lot of room here. There's a lot of room for any kind of culture, any kind of ethnicity, any person to come over here and stay. There's plenty of room. You know, there's a lot of just, especially if you go up north. Like I said, nobody wants to live up north. Like, nobody lives up north. It's that cold. So there's plenty of room up there to build houses, or you can go over there and build your own house and then just stay up there. Nobody's going to bother you. But I've lived in America. So in America, you got the blacks, the Mexicans. Some of them don't get along. A lot of them do get along. But you've learned to get along. You've learned. You know, it's been many decades and decades and decades to the point that you figured one another out. You know how the group is. You know what they're like. You know what some individuals from some areas are like. So it's different. In Canada, it's a whole pot. It's a pot. It's a big pot mixed with different people, different racisms, different cultures. So 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 I haven't seen that many people in my life. When I first came to Canada, like being from Arizona, like I said, you got the Mexicans and blacks and the whites. I came over here to Canada. I got Jamaicans. First time ever meeting Jamaicans when they go bum de clat, ras clat. They like to cook fish, eat. Amazing people. We had some great time with the Jamaicans, cooking fish, listening to their music, that jazz kind of like melody, like that Jamaican, and then drinking the Jamaican rum and getting. It's fun. Like you have good times with these individuals. You start learning who they are, how their culture is, how their background is. They start accepting you, and it gets fun for people that are like me, that are open minded. I'm very open minded. I like to learn about different groups. I like to learn about different areas. That's why I want to travel the world, which I have. Like, I've been all over Europe. I've been all over, somewhat all over Canada. Just not up north when it's cold because I can't handle the cold, but all over the States. Like, I like to learn that kind of stuff. If you're not an open minded person and you just want to stick with your own people, your own kind, then stay in Arizona. Stay in your area that you're used to. Like, stay at O Block. If you're used to the hood, trap music, you know what I'm saying? You don't like white people, stay to O Block, You got O Block out there. They keep it down. They keep it for themselves. Everybody in O Block is like a big old family. They take care of themselves. They don't want like Chinese people or Indians or Jamaicans or any other people to come through and start taking over O Block. So like America is very territorial. That's what I'm looking for. Very territorial. You got the Italians who live, say, New York, right? You got Brooklyn. You got some like Queens. Queens is like blacks. Brooklyn is blacks with Mexicans, a mix. Then you got the Bronx, which is Albanians and Italians. It's very territorial. Canada is not territorial. You have to get used to everybody. Your next door neighbor is Indian. The next door neighbor is Jamaican. The other person down the street could be Somalian. The other person down the street can be from Greece. Then you got a guy right across the street who's Albanian. You know what I'm saying? So it's non-territorial. You go, you get a house, and that's where you're at, and you got to figure out who your neighbors are. So that's why I'm saying Canada is very racial. And if you don't believe me and you disagree and you're upset with that comment because you're like, no, like America's very racist. We see on the news all the time about the George Floyd incident. That's George Floyd incident. That's like that happens once in a while. But we're not talking about police, like our American police racist or Canadian police racist. I'm talking about people, individual, like normal humans, not police, not the government. We could talk about that on a different episode. I'm just talking about civilians, not the police. If you're talking about police, some police are racist towards blacks in New York and Chicago, and some police are racist towards Mexicans in Arizona. It's different. Here in Canada, some police might be racist towards Indians or Europeans because they overstayed. Like a lot of police in Canada hate people that overstayed. Like if they're scheduled to stay here for 5 years and they overstay that, they get very irritated. They get upset. They get very aggressive and they want to try to deport the person as fast as they can. So, anyways, we're not speaking about that. We're not speaking about the police. I'm speaking about civilians in general. If you get the time and you don't believe me, look up what's going on in Brampton. Look up what's going on. I'm talking about they're attacking churches, mosques. They're doing terrorist attacks here. You know what I'm saying? In the States, like, can you consider, what is it, January or July 6th or something, where they attacked the presidential place, whatever, where Donald Trump got involved and he got in trouble for it, the whole thing. That's not, those are all white. Like, those are all just white Americans. All white Americans trying to go to the parliament or whatever, and the police let them in, and chaos happened. You know what I'm saying? So that's not really racism. That's just the civilians going against the government. So that's, you can't look at that and call it racism. What I'm talking about, like, I'm talking about racism. Like, look up what's going on. Brampton, Montreal. Just put Indians versus like Arabic people. They're going. It's chaos over there. It's chaos. Or just the group Hamas. So some of the people from Hamas, they're over here. They're saying death, death to Canada, death, death to Canada. Like, if you don't like Canada, get the hell out of here. You know, I love every country that I'm at. If they're keeping me safe, they're giving me a roof over my head, they're giving me food to eat, they're providing me with a way to make some money, and they're protecting me and my family, I love that country. I got the most appreciative thing for the country. I respect the country to the fullest. And to be honest with you, although it's not my country, I was born in Albania, but me living 15 years in Canada, I feel Canadian. Like, I've lived here long enough. You know what I'm saying? I know everything about Canada. So, not everything, but I know more than most people do. And if the Canadian Army told me, "Hey, are you ready to defend this country?" I will have to say, not might, I will say yes. I'm here right now. They're protecting me. Later on, you'll hear about my story. I'll talk about it, and you can see where I came from and how, when I went back to Albania, some of the problems that I had. So when it comes to it, any country that keeps me safe, that provides for me, I got to provide for them. I got to show them full respect. I got to show them. So yeah, if I have to go to war for Canada, I'll go to war for Canada. I'm here right now. They kept me safe for 15 years. They provided me with health care. Like, it's free health care in Canada, although it's not the best. But anyways, it's free health care. So they took care of my health. They helped me as a person. They helped me get a job. So that's what. Anyways, we're back to racism. But what I'm saying is that you got this Hamas group. You got this group. If you look at it, you gotta watch it. Like, just go and look up and put death, death to Canada. Like, they're screaming death, death to Canada, death, death to Canada. Like, why are you saying that? You're in Canada, screaming death, death to Canada, and then right after you're done with your protesting, which is not even protesting, it's basically terrorism. Like, you're terrorizing the country. What do you do afterwards? You go to your Canadian home. You eat your Canadian food. You sit down you lay down in your Canadian bed, and you sleep in your Canadian territory. Like you can't be over here screaming death, death to Canada, but then when it comes down to it, you live in Canada and you won't, like, go back to your own country. Go back to your own country. Go fight against Hamas, or go fight against the war, or go do whatever you want. Like, I've seen some Ukrainians, they come over here and they say, "We hate Canada. It's boring. There's nothing to do here. It's like a retirement home." Then go back to Ukraine. Your country's at war. You're getting bombed at. You're getting help here. They're keeping you safe. So it's a very racial place. I don't know how to explain it to you, because there's so many races. Like, there's so many people. You don't know where they're coming from. Like, you got to learn everybody. But in the States, I didn't have to do that. If I'm in Arizona, I'm playing on the football team. I got Mexicans, blacks, and whites. Hey, what's up? What are you? Oh, I'm black. Okay, cool. African American. What's up, bro? How you doing? Let's play the game. Mexican, Jose, Francisco, Diego. What's up? Deshaun Briggs, Josh Burnett. What's like? Just like how do you want to say it? Just your people. You get used to them, and that's it. But here in Canada, you got to get used to everybody. You got to get used to every country. You got to get used to every culture, and you got to get used to every religion. So that's why it gets very racial in Canada. Some people might go somewhere. I'll give you a quick one. Since everybody want to talk about George Floyd, some people are saying that he was on drugs. The person that put the knee on the neck, he should have released, which he should have. There's no reason to keep your knee on somebody's neck for 2 minutes and the guy's screaming, "Mom, help, mom, help," and then you put your knee on your neck. So he deserved what he got. He deserved the stabbings that he got. Sorry, God, I'm even saying this. I mean, I don't wish death upon anybody, but that guy keeping his knee 2 minutes on somebody's neck, come on, like you gotta understand that's a little extreme. But like I said, we're not talking about the police right now. Okay? We're not talking about the police. But we had a situation over here. I want you to type in whenever this is done, put London terrorist attack on Indian family. Or just put vehicle runs over Indian family in London, Ontario. Quick story. Here's what happened. So this individual that did it, he's just irregular. He's like the person that shot Donald Trump. This person, if you combine that person to this person, they look exactly alike. So the person that shot Donald Trump, and thank God he missed, and thank God to Donald Trump, that's our president, and hopefully he changes everything around. But anyways, besides that part, so the person that shot Donald Trump, if you put this guy and him together, they look exactly alike. This person lived in my apartment complex. I didn't know at the time. I moved into an apartment complex downtown, and nobody knows about this, which is a lot of people in Canada are going to be very surprised. So the building, they have a washer downstairs. They got every washer. So there's four. So there are 4 levels, and every level has a washer and dryer, right? And like you got about 7 apartments, and you all share the washers and dryer. And then you got to put change in there for it to work and whatnot. Anyways, so he was a very rare, he was very strange individual. Very strange, very awkward. Always kept it to himself. Like he never talked so much. But then when he closed the door, you would hear hardcore rock music, and you would hear like a lot of screaming and yelling. But there was nobody there. It was always him. It was always him. There was nobody else. So, with that being said, one day I was going to do my laundry, and then it happened to be the same time he did his laundry. He always did his laundry at 4 o'clock in the morning. I found that kind of strange. I had to do it because I had a court date early in that morning that I need to go do something. So I had no clothes. So I put my clothes in, try to get something for the morning so I could be ready to go. I ironed my clothes, and there was some kind of like civil lawsuit over some money for the business or whatnot. Anyways, so me and this individual were supposed to go to court and try to settle on some kind of dispute. Besides that day, so I meet him. Anyways, he's doing his laundry, I'm doing my laundry. I go to the washer, I finish, I put my stuff in the dryer. He's coming to put his stuff in his washer. So as he's coming over there, it's not joking around, but sometimes people in Canada, like you don't do this in the States either. You don't go in the States and say Salam Alaikum. Here in Canada was the first time I ever met Arabic people. I'm telling you, like in the States, I only met Black and Mexican and Native Americans. Okay? And your Native Americans are pretty far, like they live in the reservations. But here in Canada, you got the reservations 30 minutes away, 20 minutes away. You can literally, like, they have their own city, their own rules, their own laws. They can literally come, majority of them, like some of them that are kind of, you know what I'm saying, like kind of like crooks or whatnot, they would come, steal a truck or steal a car, and then drive it 20 minutes towards the reservations. The police will pull back, and then their sheriff, it's not a sheriff, but their chief of the reservations has to get involved and figure out the whole situation. So that's another difference between Canada and America. The reservations in America are like an hour, 2 hours long to drive out there. To drive out to the reservations, you got to really drive out there. Here, they're 20, 30 minutes away. So a lot of Native Americans, they live in the city that you're at. So you got to, you got to adjust to how they, you know what I'm saying? They say, hey, this is my land. You got to adjust to what they feel like. You got to adjust to their habits and the way they act and the way they, like, just like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So you got Native Americans that live right next door to you. They don't live at the reservations. They want to live in the city. So that's just another group that you got with a mixture of all these other groups put together, like Jamaicans, Arabics. But we're talking about Arabic, we're talking about millions of different kinds. You got Palestinians, Chaldeans, you got Kurdish, you got Kurdish, you got Lebanese, you got Jordanian. Like there's a bunch of them. Like you got to learn all this stuff. So that's why when I first came here, I had to learn about all these different groups, all these different races, all the different individuals. I didn't know anything about them because, like I said, Phoenix, Arizona, even in California, Black, white, Mexican. That's it. You got your Chicanos, Paisanos, the Woods, the Kinfos. That's it. But here you got a mixture of everybody when it comes to even going to jail. You're segregated. You got Cambodians, you got Koreans, you got Chinese, you got now that there's different parts over there. They got North Korea, South Korea. Now you're talking about India. You got Punjabi, you got North, you got East, you got West. Like it's all divided. They're all different. That's why it's so unique. It's so beautiful. Like everybody's got their own. Like they could be Indian, but the North is different from the South. The East is different from the West. Although they share the same foods, they got different religions. They got different mentalities. They got different thinkings. So that's why it's very racial here. For a Canadian that's 100% Canadian, white, you're white, born or Native American Canadian, and then you got all these people coming in from all these different countries, especially now we're talking about Europe. You got Germany, Greece, Macedonia, and you got all the Balkan countries. You got too many people coming in to the point that they're like, oh, I hate these people, or can't stand them, or these people are this and these people are that. And you hear that every day here, but you don't hear that in the States. In the States, you got Black, Mexican, and white. Like you're used to them by now. Like you're used to it. You know who you got. You know how that person acts. The white people, the Mexicans, you know how they act. You know what their customs are like. You know what their religion is like, and you're used to them. There's no fights. There's no nothing. Anyways, get back to the story. Quick story. So check out. So this is when I figured out how racist Canada could really be, because it's a quiet place. It's very quiet. So everybody stays in their homes. They're very conservative. They don't like to talk much. They keep everything inside. So you really don't know what they're thinking. You really don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? In their mind. But as for the States, like we say it how it is. In the States, we tell people how it is. Like, hey, You honky, go fucking do this, or you guinea, go do that, or you blah blah blah. We'll tell the person straight up how it is, and then after that, it leads to a fight or whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? Um, but here they keep it into themselves, and so that's how this guy was. He was a very strange kid, and he lived right down. If I was on 202, he was on 207, I believe, or 208. So check this out. I go up to him. I didn't know how he was like, so I was playing around. I was playing a joke, and I said, "Salam alaikum." I was like, "Yo, brother, salam alaikum." He looks at me, goes, "Salama what?" I swear to you, this is what he said. And don't be offensive towards this. Don't get mad at me. Don't get upset. This is the words coming straight from out of his mouth. And now he's doing, I think, life in prison. But this is the words coming straight from his mouth. I said salam alaikum to him. He says salaikum sakak or something like that. I said, what? I was like, what did you just say, bro? Because me, I'm half Muslim, half Catholic. My dad's Catholic, my mom's Muslim. I take both religions to the heart. You know what I'm saying? I'm very protective towards both religions because both of my families respect them very much. You know what I'm saying? But I respect all religions. I like to learn, which I did. Coming to Canada opens up your mind. That's the good thing about Canada. You come to Canada, it opens your mind to everybody's religion. I learned a little bit about the Punjabi religion. I learned about like all different types. How people, I went to, it's like a mosque, but like the Indians go there. So then they like to take off their shoes. They go around. This is big gentleman, big heavy-set gentleman with a big beard. He's singing the song. You go around him. You have to put like a treat inside this water, like a little tip, some coins or whatever. Then you sit down and then you do your prayer. He sings his he doesn't sing his song. I got to get the right words because then a lot of people are going to get upset with me. But anyways, he does his thing. And then you sit there for a little bit. You do your prayer, you talk about it, and then you casually walk away. Then they give you a little, like a bracelet. They give you like, it's one of those Indian, it's like a purity kind of bracelet. Also, they have a sword, like a double sword. It's because of war or because of, anyways, that's their religion. I don't know too much about it, so don't put the words to it. But I thought it was fascinating. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I thought it was fascinating. I went there, the whole experience, and then afterwards, you get to eat. You get to enjoy yourself. Eat as much as you want. They're very friendly people. You need any help, you need anything, and they're open arms to everybody. They don't care where you are. They don't care who you are, what religion are you, who you are. They just want you to come in, show them respect, and they'll show you respect. So probably the nicest people ever. Like if you need help or if you need them to, like, that's why a lot of them are doctors, a lot of them are lawyers, a lot of them are, majority of them are doctors to help people because they're very friendly, they love to help people, and they're very nice. So I got nothing against like the Indian religion. They're really good people. But they're going to war. They're having a conflict right now with some Arabic people. And I respect Arabic people. I work with them. They work at my pizza shop. They're great people themselves. They'll take their shirts off their back to help you out, just like the Albanians are. So it's crazy how certain groups don't get along, but you think that they might get along because they have a lot in common. So you're kind of confused on how they don't get along, but they should. You know what I'm saying? But I'm acting like Donald Trump now. I go around and talk about something else. What do you call it? A viral or a spin? Where he goes around everywhere and then he goes back to the subject. So anyways, what I was talking about is that individual, the kid, the moron, the idiot, the psychopath, the dummy, I wish I knew he was going to do that day. I would have stopped him and I would have took his life with my own hands if I knew that day. So I feel kind of guilty for not doing something that day, which I didn't know he was going to do what he was going to do. So, anyways, back to my story. Um, I said salam alaikum. He says alaikum. I'm not gonna mention it again. I was like, why'd you say that? Like, I was like, who do you think you are, man? Like, why are you talking to me like that? Like, learn to respect yourself. Like, learn to respect others. He said, yeah. Why don't you fuck off? I said, bro, yeah. I was like, you little chump. I'll come over there and I'll strangle you. I was like, I was like, you're a $120, a $130. I'll come over there right now and beat. You know, I was getting aggravated. He was trying to get to me. He wanted violence that day. He wanted violence that day. He wanted somebody to overreact. He wanted something to happen because I could see it in his eyes that he was not there. He was very irritated about something. And I just, you know what? I said, I've experienced a lot in my life. I've done a lot in my life. I'm not going to go back to the old me. I'm going to calm down. So I was getting confrontational. I was saying the words that I was saying. I was like, I'm going to do this. I was like, you know what, man? Just go back to your place. I'll go back to my place and then keep it at that. If my clothes are ready, just leave them there. Have respect. Do not touch them. And I'll come get them. So I was waiting for the 45-minute mark while the clothes are done. I go, take them out of the dryer. And that's it. I'm done. I get my clothes. I leave. I don't want to see this kid ever again. He destroyed my day, my whole day. So after that, I get to my day. I'm doing my thing. Go to the courts. Go out for a restaurant afterwards with the lawyer. Had something good to eat. Met up with a few friends. Came back to the house. Played a little bit of Xbox. Talked to some family back to Albania. Had a great day, right? As I was driving by, after I got done with my dinner with my lawyer, as I was driving by, I saw the whole area like blocked out. The whole area was just all backed up by police. You call them the RCMP. They're different here. They're the RCMP. They're like the mountain police. So RCMP. They're the rope squad. These are serious people. When they come out, that means something serious happened. So the whole area was backed out, and then you got people, police with different ammunitions out, just pulling out their guns, patrolling the whole area, making sure nobody gets by, everybody goes around. And anyways, the lawyer was driving me back to downtown so I can get my car and go back to my house. I go, what's going on over there? He said, who knows, man, something crazy. He's like, but I've never seen that many police before in my life. Anyways, a day goes by. The next day, I see the interview, like people that do the interviews, the cast. I see people coming over there from the news channel, just surrounding my whole building. Police, FBI, like it's not FBI here, but like special services. They're taking pictures of the building. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? This is crazy right now. I decided to leave and go to the gym. After that, I'm sitting down as I was doing some reps, and I was looking at my phone, and it brought it up. It said London, Ontario, 27 or 28 kid, Caucasian kid, runs over Indian family. So this kid, the same kid that I had a problem with earlier that day, the same kid that I said something in Muslim, which is like salam alaikum, trying to be respectful, trying to be friendly, he gave me a bad term back, got me aggressive, got me angry. The same kid that could have had ammunition. Like sometimes you got to be very careful with the people that you're associated with, or the people that you don't know very well, because they could be very dangerous and you don't even know. Like that person could have some stuff in his house that's right. You could be his next door neighbor, and he could be going through some things, or he could be having some stuff in his house that's just out of this world, and you don't even know anything about him. You just think he's a nice person, a nice, young, good kid that's not going to do nothing. No, 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 no. This person had like guns in his house. He had everything. So what if he snapped that day? What if he snapped? When I told him that salam alaikum, when I told him that I was going to snap him as a twig, what if he went into his place and got one of his guns that he was holding over there and decided just to walk right down to my apartment, knock on my door? I would have opened up and he would have said, "What are you going to do to me?" Size doesn't matter, guys. Size doesn't matter. I'm looking at him. I said, he's a $120, but he could have had one of those heavy little things that weighed about $120 that could put $120 in you, and you lose $120. You know what I'm saying? So gotta be very careful. So I was reading the news, and I guess this moron, this stupid kid, this idiot, he ran over a whole family. He ran over a whole family. I think it was the mother, the grandma, the grandma, the father, the two sisters, and then the only kid that survived was the little boy. So after his whole family being ran over by his truck, he drove the same truck. It was like a red F-150, old style F-150 truck, the same truck that I always seen him with. The same truck. That's what I seen, because when I was driving by, I seen that truck just posted up and blocked up by the police. And I told my lawyer, I was like, I think I know that truck. That's what I told him. But anyways, the same truck that he always took every single day to work, that truck was there. And that truck was used to kill, 5 to 6 people. Now that kid growing up, he's going to be a savage. He's not going to, I don't know. Hopefully God helps that kid. Hopefully God learns to help him forgive and show him more in life than just what he'd been through. But it's just, I feel very bad for that kid. I feel very bad, because he had to witness his whole family. They're just taking a casual walk, because a lot of people in Canada, that's what they do. Like in the States, some people do, some people don't. But here, a lot of people take their bikes. A lot of people take their scooters. And a lot of Arabic, Jamaican, it doesn't matter who you are, but they like to walk around the neighborhood. So they're just taking a nice little walk around the neighborhood. And he saw them, and what a coward, right? Tries to hit him from the back. That's what a coward does. Always hit somebody from the back. So anyways, he took the truck, went off the curb, hit him from the back, and prayed to the family, prayed to the whole, everybody who's part of that family, that hopefully they're in a better place now. But yeah, that right there, that showed me that, and it was a big thing going on in Ontario. It alarmed everybody. There was a big warning that said, be careful, Indians, all refugees, all Indians, be careful, because there's people in the country that will terrorize you. That will terrorize you without any questions, without no warning at all. No warning whatsoever. They'll come and they'll terrorize you, and they'll do something that they might regret later on in the future, or they might not regret at all. But anyways, I haven't seen this kid ever again. I think he's doing life in prison. But in Canada, it's not even like that. Like, I think it is. Like, for him, because it's a terrorist attack, they might give him life in prison. But anyways, I hope he gets worse than that. I hope he gets stabbed up in prison, to be honest with you. To kill a whole family for no reason at all, just because you're having a bad day. It's not even that. He was a terrorist. Because after that, they started doing an investigation, and they went inside his apartment. He had like Hitler pictures. He had pictures of Hitler. He had pictures of the swastika. He had pictures of all kinds of stuff. He had all kinds of terrorists, and like he read books of terrorism books, and like people that have done life in prison for terrorist attacks and Al Qaeda, and like he had like pictures of like Indian and African Americans or something, and he was shooting, like he was throwing darts at them and stuff like that. He was aiming darts towards the guy's a psychopath. He's crazy. So, anyways, that just shows you right there. I was close. I was close to an altercation, very close to an altercation to a psychopath. And for the people that live around my area, they're gonna check my channel. You live in the Covent Market. Remember the 34 Covent Marketplace? I was there at the time. I stayed on the second floor on the 34 Covent Marketplace, and he was on the second floor, 34 Covent Marketplace. I'm 202, he's 207 or 206. I can't remember, but it's on the right side. And I was on the left, and we went down the middle to share the washer and dryer. That right there. So anyways, that's going to end it off. This one was, what's the difference? Like which country is more... The only reason why I'm saying Canada is more racist is because there's more people. That's it. There's more cultures, there's more individuals from different countries, and there's a lot more people involved. That's the only reason. And a lot of Canadians, to be honest with you, hate Americans. So a lot of Canadians hate Americans. They think they're ignorant or arrogant, ignorant, hard-headed, stupid. And so just imagine, they don't even like Americans. We're just white Americans. So they hate everybody that comes into their country. Majority of them. Some of them are open-minded and don't care, but I can see some of them. I open up my eyes. I can see what's going around in my community. Like, you have this woman, white American woman or white Canadian woman who goes to the counter, and then you got an Indian speaking student who just came there, and he goes, "Hello, how can I help you? I don't understand. Can you please explain again? Hello? No, what did you, ranch? We don't have a ranch. What's that? Barbecue?" They have this accent, you know what I'm saying? So their accent is different from the other person's accent, and you could see that the white Canadian gets aggravated. Why don't you damn learn English before you come to this country? You know what I'm saying? Like, they say stuff like this. They say stuff like that. But in the States, none of that happens because everybody speaks English. All the blacks speak English. The Mexicans, when they come, they learn English. And they have no accent. It's very rare that they have an accent. And that's how it is. But here, it gets like that. It really does. Like they get really... upset. They get really upset. They go, "Why don't you learn the language?" Or, "How did you get this job?" Or, "Why are you picking up the phone? You don't even know how to speak." And why don't you go back to your country? You've overstayed your stay. Like, just Google some of the stuff that's going on in Canada and check a look at some of the comments. Majority of the comments are, "You overstayed your stay. Go back home." The Canadians want their land. They want all the refugees, everybody to go back to their home territory, and they want to keep their land. That's how it is. That's why they don't like Trudeau. Trudeau wants all illegal immigrants to come here. He's open-minded. I think he brought 20,000 Syrians. He brought 20,000 Syrians. They took over like Windsor. They're staying in hotels in Windsor. They're getting $500. They're getting a place to stay, a place to live. They're getting all these gifts, and not gifts, but they're getting stuff to help them, like shelter and the needs and everything. So that's why a lot of people hate Trudeau. They don't want Trudeau bringing in all these people from different countries to take up the room in Canada. But there's so much room here. The country's huge. Second or third biggest country in the world. Like, come on, guys. You got to be a little bit open-minded. But it's different because the Mexicans, when they come, like, say they hop the border, they do jobs that the white Americans don't want to do. They'll do construction jobs. So they'll go and build these houses in a day. You know what I'm saying? They'll build these houses in a day. The hardest working people in the world and the strongest, like, fighters and boxers and the hardest workers in the world I believe Mexicans have that that work background. You know what I mean? Like they like to work and they like to build stuff and architecture and construction, and they're very smart. So that's what I'm saying. So that's why Americans are more open minded. Americans are like, well, we do need these people because they do some of the work that we cannot or we don't want to do, and they do it really fast and they're really good at it. But here in Canada, it's different because the Indians, they're not going to go into construction. They're a little bit, they want to be doctors, and they want to, and it's not even them. It's like Arabics too. Arabics, Albanians, Serbians, some people from the Balkan countries, anybody in general. They're not like the Mexicans. They come over here and they find the jobs that the Canadians want to do, and they do that job with like half off. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll be like, listen, how much are you paying this person? Or say it's a restaurant, you're a server. The server is this white Canadian girl. She gets $15 an hour plus tips. You got Jamaican lady who comes in there and says, listen, I'm an amazing waitress. I can do everything she's doing plus more. I will wash the wash the bathrooms, wash the kitchen, clean all the plates, clean everything, make sure the place is spotless, take 3 to 4 tables, and you could pay me $7. I don't need the 15. I'll take 7 and do 3 times the work for $7 and not even accept that much a tip. You can have majority of the tip. You know, see what I'm like? They come here with a different style. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like the Mexicans who come and work hard and build houses. You got the refugees that come to Canada who work for lower cost, and they take all the good jobs. So that's why they hate Trudeau, and they want all the refugees, or they want all the illegals to go back home, so the Canadians can start working again, and they can get their full pay. You know, some of them don't want to work for $7, $8. They want to work for $15 to $20. But say you're a mama papa store and you're about to run out of business, you can't afford this person $15 an hour, keeping them $8 or 8 hours a day, and paying them $150 to $200 a day when your store barely makes $400 or $500 at lunchtime. So what you do, you get an Indian person, or you get Serbian, Albanian, Jamaican. You get a refugee. You get somebody who's a refugee who comes to the country, who speaks decent English, and you pay them less money. You pay them half the pay, and they do better work. They work harder. They work harder. They get half the pay. Anyways, that's why I'm saying, being the biggest country in the world, or the 3rd biggest country in the world, there's a lot of room here for millions of people to come and to live happy. But a lot of Canadians are racial. They like to keep their country, and they don't want too many people to come. They're okay with some people coming, but they don't want too many people to come. As for America, America's overpopulated, and like I said, the only reason why I picked Canada for being more racist than America is because there's too many people. There's too many people all over the world. Okay, so there's just not Mexican, black, and white. You got the whole country. You got all the countries, and they're all migrating to Canada, and you got to learn about them. And there's so many people, so then that's when the hatred comes in. Oh, I hate the fact that you do this and you do that. Oh, I hate the fact that, you're taking this holiday off because it's your holiday? Well, I don't care because this is our holiday. That's where all the differences comes in, and then all the conflicts and the problems. And you can look all this stuff up. I'm not making it up. Look it up what's going on in Brampton. Look it up what's going on Toronto. Just put protest. Just put protest. And tell me if that's normal protest. It's terrorism. What's going on is terrorism. It's not protest. In the States, they do their protests, but it doesn't get as violent as it does in Canada. And they burned down the Canadian flag. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of racism in Canada than there is in America, because although the Floyd incident and the worst thing that happened is NBA and NFL players would kneel down when it came to the national anthem. They would do the national anthem taking a knee, not standing up. That's the worst that happened. Was the national anthem would go on and they would take a knee. They're burning flags here. I have never seen anybody in America go in public. I'm talking about national TV. They're in an interview or national television, the news, and they're burning the American flag right there in the middle of the parliament for the whole world to see. You can have a problem with like the George Floyd incident. You can have a problem with some white person, like the white CEO that got killed with like the white CEO that got killed, that got shot in broad daylight because of the whole scamming that he's doing with the, like, you can have all that happen, but you're never going to see the American flag being burned down. If you ever see somebody burning down the American flag, he's going to get attacked and he's going to get killed in front of everybody. Okay? So that right there shows to you that racism occurs in America. Of course, racism is everywhere. Racism occurs in everywhere. Some people migrated to China. They might hate some tourists. I could be a tourist going to China. They look at me, they're like, arrogant American. Or me, like I decided to go to Montreal. Montreal hate people that speak English. They want French, only French. If you speak French, go to Montreal. I went to Montreal and she was speaking English to somebody else because they knew that person and they were okay with them. But then when I went to the store in Montreal and I asked, hey, do you know where the nearest nightclub is, or do you know where the nearest hotel is? I want to, go out for tonight. Do you know where a nice place to go? Excuse me? And they start speaking French to me. I was like, I don't speak French. I'm sorry. Like, can you speak English the same way you spoke English to that person? I said, no, like, speak English to me. The same way you spoke English to that person, speak English to me. Like, sometimes they do stuff to really get to you, but you gotta breathing exercises. Everybody who has like aggression and they're aggressive and they get angry, just breathe, guys, breathe. Take 10 nice breaths and then just walk away from the incident. Like, they just spoke English. You just spoke English to that individual because he's a refugee and his English is not perfect. And then my English might be a little bit better because I went to school in America, and you're looking at me as a arrogant American who came to Montreal. So now you don't want to speak English to me, but you want to speak English to that person. That's how it works. And so yeah, like, and I forgot the guy, the CEO with the gosh, what is it, man? The one that just happened one now. What's his name? Mongolia, whatever. But he gives for the hospitals and stuff like that. He gives insurance for the hospitals, or like legal like aid for the hospitals. Here we get free healthcare, but then that's what it was. The healthcare insurance guy that gives free, that's supposed to give out healthcare coverage. Thank you. Sorry. I've been seeing a lot of stuff going on TV lately. So for the healthcare, so he does the whole healthcare thing, but then he got shot in the back of the head. You might say that's like it's not a racial attack. It's not a terrorist attack. It's somebody who's going through a thing, who doesn't like the healthcare in America, because it's BS, which it is. I think I got a torn ACL and a torn meniscus, and I got a bill from the hospital for $20,000. And I got a torn ACL here in Canada, and I got a bill from the hospital, which was $0. So I got fully covered from the surgery, the therapy. I got everything in Canada for $0, compared to the person that does it in the States. He gets taken care of right away, but he gets a bill of $30,000 or $40,000. So anyways, to sum it up, guys, like I said, that's the only reason why I picked Canada for being, just look it up. They're burning the Canadian flag. That's as racist as it can get. But if you see one person, just one person, who doesn't like the views in America, who doesn't like Donald Trump becoming president, who goes on social media, who goes broad daylight to the parliament, somewhere where everybody can see, and burns the American flag, you're going to see what happens to that person. You're going to see what happens to that person. But here in Canada, this group, this terrorist group, decided to burn the Canadian flag right there in City Hall, so all the Canadians can see it, and nothing happened. Nobody attacked them. Nobody put handcuffs on them to put them away. Nobody took force. Nobody did anything. The police were just sitting there watching their own flag getting burned to the ground. That's racism at its finest, and nothing happened. And if you do that to an American flag and try to burn that to the ground, watch what happens. So that's what I'm saying here. Racism is a big thing, and they take it lightly. They don't really care. In America, it's not so much. So the difference is America, Canada, which country is more racist? I already told you my thoughts. If you have any comments, like this channel, subscribe, and then I'll pick up another episode on another difference between America and Canada. Thank you for listening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I explained everything to you. This is a touchy subject. I like everything to go about 30 minutes. This one took about an hour because I don't want everybody to be like, oh, why are you talking about race? Why are you talking about that? Just look up the stuff. Look up the stuff. They burned the Canadian flag on the ground and nothing happened. Try to do that to the American flag and see what happens. That's why I picked Canada for this difference. Don Mondo signing out. Salute.